Police departments in our area are letting their colleagues in Milwaukee know that they are here for support after a longtime officer was killed in the line of duty.
And dozens of people in Middleton will have to look for a new job as a popular toy company takes a financial hit.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. It's Thursday, July 26th, but you wouldn't guess it by the weather outside. It feels like football season to me.
It does. You know, our high today is 71. That's the normal high in mid-September.
Wow.
So I really think it will feel a little bit like fall today. A big change from yesterday as well. Take a look outside this morning. Sun is up, skies are clear. It's a beautiful start to the day today. Temperature is down 1 more degree. We're at 63 now. Winds are calm and dew points are falling as well. Lower humidity, but we are going to lose that sunshine today. Any rain that was in the area late yesterday into the overnight hours has now shifted off to the east. Look for a few pop-up showers this afternoon. They should be light and pretty scattered, but overall a breezy and cool day. Northwest winds 10 to 20 miles an hour, highs only in the lower 70s. Here's a look at your first alert traffic update this morning. So far things have been pretty quiet on the roads, and it looks like that trend continues. Just a few slowdowns showing up on Stoughton Road right now, but otherwise things are pretty quiet. I checked around the area, no accidents to report, so you're still heading at posted speeds into Madison.
And we did mention earlier that All-City Swim Meet is today. Folks headed to Monona, thousands of kids participating in that today. So.
Yeah, I would imagine watch for delays in the traffic there, but also maybe spectators might want to grab a light jacket or something.
And an extra towel. Yeah, going to be a bit cold. All right, thanks, Hattie.
You're welcome.
We start the news this morning in Madison. A bicyclist is out of the hospital after being hit by a car overnight near the UW-Madison campus. Dane County dispatchers say this happened around 1 o'clock this morning near the intersection of West Johnson and Park Streets. That's right near Celery Hall and Vilas Hall, not too far from the Kohl Center. There were some road closures in that area as police investigated this. Now, there's no word whether the driver will face any charges. We'll bring you any updates over on channel3000.com.
We're hoping to learn more this morning about the death of a Milwaukee police officer during a shooting in that city. The department says a 17-year veteran of the force was checking on someone wanted on drug and gun violations when they were shot and killed yesterday afternoon. We don't know their name yet this morning. A police procession led the body from the hospital to the medical examiner's office last night. Now, the shooting happened around 5 o'clock yesterday. Police say the shooter hit the officer twice, then was arrested afterward. This is the second Milwaukee police officer to die in the line of duty just this summer. Another officer was killed 2 months ago when his squad car crashed during a pursuit.
A Milwaukee police sergeant is among those scheduled to speak at the state capitol today as lawmakers discuss how police body camera footage is regulated, stored, and accessed across Wisconsin. A committee has been tasked with studying how to make body camera policies a bit more uniform across the state, including how it's captured and saved by departments and how it's released to the public. Now, this comes after Milwaukee police released extended footage of the arrest of Milwaukee Bucks player Sterling Brown, showing him getting tased and arrested in a Walgreens parking lot back in January. In another video made public, you can hear responding officers talking about how Brown's arrest could be seen as racist. Now, Brown was never charged. He has since filed a federal lawsuit against the department.
The La Crosse Police Department has a new opening on its force, but instead of a policing background, you'll need experience with mathematics to get the job. The department is trying to cut crime in the area by hiring a crime analyst. The position would focus on finding crime patterns in the community and help find which areas need more patrols. Officers say they collect a lot of data that could be better used if there was someone on the staff who knew how to organize and interpret it. If you're interested, the deadline to apply is August 17th.
The Sauk City man accused of sexually assaulting 2 elderly women in a nursing home is scheduled to have his preliminary hearing today. 69-year-old Galen Malish faces several charges, including 2 felony counts of second-degree sexual assault and a misdemeanor charge of fourth-degree sexual assault as a hate crime. He was living in the nursing home at the time of the alleged assaults. Police say Malish confessed to those crimes. Now, the people running Maplewood Nursing Home, where the incidents allegedly took place, were later accused of covering up the assaults. Investigations later found Maplewood knew of Malish's status as a sex offender and that officials there tried to stop an investigation into his behavior. Now, Maplewood officials told News 3 earlier this month they've submitted a plan to correct their violations.
6:04 your time now. 22 workers in the Middleton area will soon be out of their jobs after their company announced another quarter of declining sales. The State Journal reports that Mattel, the parent company of American Girl in Middleton, is cutting more than 2,200 jobs across the world. 24 of those are right here in Dane County. Mattel says the job cuts in Middleton were across every level of the company. That cut will impact about 1% of American Girl's total workforce. Mattel's cuts will impact 4% of its Wisconsin employees. Mattel's global sales were down 14% from the same quarter last year. The bad news comes as the company tries to recover from the closure of all Toys R Us stores last month.
6:05 right now. President Trump will be in Dubuque this morning, touring a manufacturing plant and talking about American jobs. Farmers across the Midwest, meanwhile, and Wisconsin-based Harley-Davidson are among those watching with cautious optimism after the president and the head of the European Union announced that they will work toward zero tariffs. President Trump raised taxes on imported steel and aluminum coming from European countries, and the EU retaliated with higher taxes on a number of American-made products. The leaders say, though, there will be no new tariffs implemented while this deal is negotiated. Meanwhile, the president plans to meet with representatives from Canada and Mexico to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement, also known as NAFTA. Canada and Mexico are Wisconsin's two biggest export markets.
A University of Wisconsin piano student isn't letting his rare blood disorder stop him from pursuing his dreams. It is an expensive medication that's allowing Kung-woo Jin to continue playing the piano. Kung-woo has hemophilia. While growing up in South Korea, he wasn't able to get the preventative injections needed to stop him from bleeding into his muscles and joints. When he moved into the U.S., he was able to get private insurance to cover the $3,000 injections that he needs 3 times a week.
It really makes my life much easier. And then also easier to envision myself doing what I want to do here.
When Kung-woo graduates in May, he wants to teach and perform piano, but he needs a job that gives him health care to pay for the medicine he'll need to take for the rest of his life. Tonight at 10, Amanda Quintana is going to show us his thank you to the UW nurses that have given him the ability to perform again. Some great work being done over there at UW Hospital to make sure he can play like that. That's incredible.
Yeah, and it's great that he's able to share that with a place, you know, that's usually so sterile, filled with a lot of emotion. I mean, it's nice to just be able to sit and take in some nice music.
Looking forward to that story tonight on News 3 at 10. All right, 6:07 your time. Now, basically, all of my favorite snacks are under a recall this morning.
Sorry.
Come on. And it's the stuff you wouldn't expect that might be linked to salmonella, stuff like crackers and cereal. We're going to talk to Dr. Mandira Mehra with SSM Health St. Mary's about why these things are even at risk.
And it's not exactly a pool day, though. That's where you're going to find thousands of local kids today, all for the all-city swim meet. Hattie is checking the radar. You might not think that you need a rain jacket looking at that sunshine this morning, but tune in because those storms may be coming. We'll have that update when News 3 This Morning returns.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. A comfortable start to the day right now with sunshine and temperatures in the 60s. But a cold front moved through the area last night, and that will bring big changes for today. Take a look at the 24-hour precipitation estimate. Not a lot of rain for most of the area. It was confined to our far northern viewing area, Juneau and Adams County, Marquette and Green Lake counties. Some spots in the northern parts of those counties picking up over 1 inch to 2 inches of rain. And this is radar estimated, but you get the idea. Some heavy storms moving through that area last night. We didn't see anything here in Madison, but we are definitely going to feel the effects of that cold front. It has now passed well to the east, so no rain in the area this morning. Skies are clear right now, as you can see on the Edgewater Sky Cam early today. 63 degrees here in Madison, 61 in Mineral Point, dropping now to 59 though in the Dells. Temperatures are not going to climb much today. Dew points will drop though as well, so we'll lose any humidity that we had in the atmosphere today. Should feel much more comfortable. You won't notice any humidity. Winds though are going to be increasing as we head towards the afternoon. It's going to be a northwest wind increasing to 10 to 20 miles an hour, so you'll definitely notice that. And it'll make it feel pretty cool today at times, especially with clouds moving into the area. Winds should settle down as the sun sets. Take a look at future track and you'll see clear skies this morning, but watch what happens as we put this map into motion. Going through the morning hours, temperatures climb back to around 70 by lunchtime. Definitely turning cloudy though for the afternoon, with spotty showers popping up here and there. High temperatures will only be in the 70s today, low 70s at that. Any showers that do develop should be pretty short-lived. Probably just enough water to get things wet before those showers come to an end. For tomorrow, we are going to start in the 50s. Again, not as much cloud cover, especially north and west of Madison, but a few showers will be possible mainly to the south and east tomorrow afternoon. High temperatures will still be in the low 70s tomorrow. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. We have temperatures that will stay in the 70s through the upcoming weekend. Still an unsettled weather pattern, so can't rule out some showers or isolated thunderstorms again later in the day on Saturday and then again on Sunday afternoon and Monday afternoon. Temperatures will get back into the 80s as we head towards the middle of next week. Now it's time to get a look at your First Alert traffic maps this morning. Josh Tim has all the details. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, it's a quiet start so far on the Madison roadways. The Beltline is moving well in both directions with no delays. Heading eastbound, though, you may want to grab the shades. The sun is out this morning. Other roads here in Dane County not looking too bad. There are some brake lights showing up on Verona Road between Highway PD and the Beltline ramps in both directions. No problems downtown around the Capitol Square and UW campus. Volume shouldn't be an issue, at least for another half hour or so. And other main routes heading into Madison are cruising along at the usual speeds with no major crashes or delays. Your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Josh, thank you. Hattie, thank you so much. 6:14 your time this morning. And this week, we've talked about goldfish and Ritz crackers being linked to salmonella, a bacteria that's typically connected to raw meat, eggs, produce, not snack foods.
Recalls are now in effect for products like Honey Smacks and Swiss rolls due to one common ingredient, whey powder. Dr. Mandira Mehra is here from SSM Health to explain why we're seeing this strange salmonella contamination. And it is really strange to me, at least.
It is strange and it's troubling because, like you said, these are some of our favorite snacks. These are the snacks our kids are eating.
Leah is very, very
I'm
concerned.
So sad.
Yeah.
Goldfish? That's my life.
Goldfish is like the most innocuous snack out there. I mean, every little kid, I feel like, has a little pack of goldfish and they're snacking on it, and it's so yummy and cute. But, you know, in this case, let's take some precautions. This is a precautionary advisory step. There is no evidence that anybody has gotten sick, which is great news. But let's take a second to talk a little bit about salmonella. Salmonella is typically known, like you said, with egg, raw meat, uncooked chicken. And when you get salmonella contamination, you basically suffer nausea, vomiting, potentially severe diarrhea, stomach cramps, usually within 12 to 72 hours of getting infected. This, of course, can require hospitalization. It can be deadly. Most cases, though, are self-limiting and people are able to treat it just at home. If you do, of course, have this outbreak and you suspect perhaps it was in response to this, you definitely want to contact the FDA, the producer, something like that. But there is a recall on these products. Moving forward, though, we always have great tips for our viewers, and things like you always want to wash your hands and any surface that may have been contaminated with salmonella. In this case, it's not the raw meats and the eggs and things like that. It's that actual whey protein. And whey protein is added to so many things now to increase its shelf life. So I wouldn't be totally surprised in the next coming weeks if we hear of a few other products that may also be precautionarily recalled.
And are we seeing this sort of infection, this contamination, more often? I've never heard of it in goldfish.
That's a great question. And are we seeing it more often, or has the FDA gotten better at detecting it?
Right.
And so the way it's usually passed is through a fecal-oral route. And so the question is, we have such great baking mechanisms, sterilization. Why are we catching it more and more? You hear of hummus and spinach getting E. coli, and you hear of all these things every year now. I think our mechanisms for catching it are just getting better.
We have about a minute left, Dr. Mara. We wanted to ask you about a recent study that linked a woman's fertility, ability to have children, and their risk of dementia down the line. I mean, this seems like a strange connection, but what do you take away from this?
The takeaway here is we are beginning to really look in the medical community at how diseases are different in men versus women. And that's hormonally, that's perhaps environmental exposures. So you think of stroke or heart attack or other risk factors where you say, wow, they present so differently in those populations. Now we're looking at Alzheimer's and we're saying, why does it present differently in women? Why are 2/3 of Alzheimer's sufferers women? In this case, this was such a fascinating study that said if women had more than about 3 children, they had a 12% less risk of Alzheimer's. So of course not to say at all that if you have 3 or more children you will not get Alzheimer's, but fascinating study. Why is this association there? Is it because of the estrogen? Is it environmental factors? The more reproductive years a woman had, they also had a lowered risk factor. So a lot of questions to be answered here. We still have to figure out the mechanism of action, but it is fascinating to know that that connection is there, and why is it there is going to be the next question.
Yeah, more to come.
Interesting study and some good tips on avoiding salmonella contamination. All right, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, great to be here.
Good to see you. 6:17 right now, and if you've always wanted to own an old-fashioned ice cream machine, maybe a 1970s garbage can, the old Ella's Deli is where you're going to want to be today. Christina Laurie is already there with the former owners to talk about the auction happening there this morning.
Not sure it's a day our polar bear friend over at the Henry Vila Zoo is going to want to spend in the pool.
Oh, where is she at?
Chilly. We'll check in with him again, and we're going to check in with Hattie to see when we can expect some storms when News 3 This Morning continues.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean. We have clear skies early this morning and a nice start to the day. Temperatures are generally in the 60s, a few exceptions always. 59 in the Dells right now, 58 in Viroqua, but everyone else still at least above 60 degrees. Winds are light from the west this morning, but they will be increasing from the northwest this afternoon, anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour. So a little breezy and feeling much cooler today. Winds will die back as the sun sets. Here's a look at your day planner temperatures. Sunshine this morning gives way to clouds by lunchtime with temperatures topping only in the low 70s. A few scattered showers are expected to pop up this afternoon. Have a wonderful day.
All right, thanks, Hattie. If you are in the market for a 20-horse carousel, maybe an old-fashioned custard machine, Danica, she's been looking for one, or some flashy letters, you are in luck this morning.
Check. Yeah, there are 75, give or take, nostalgic items from Ella's Deli here in Madison up for auction today. Christina Laurie is about 4 hours early to check out some of that memorabilia and to talk with the former owners about today's sale. Christina, have your eye on anything already?
I do. There's so many different things that caught my eye. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take home that giant carousel that stood in the parking lot of Ella's for more than 40 years. That's already in Verona at Epic Systems, but there's still a plethora of other memorabilia up for grabs at an auction that starts at 10:30 this morning. I'm joined now by Ella's Deli's owner, Ken Balkin. He's going to give us a little walkthrough of some of the items that are up for grabs. Good morning, Ken. What does today mean to you?
Well, welcome everybody, and we really want to thank Channel 3 for coming out and helping the viewers take a look at what we hope to turn out to be a very exciting day here for the community. So we're standing really in amongst kind of some things from our creative closet right now that are going to be up for auction. And as everybody knows, Epic has acquired the carousel and a lot of the interior items that they're going to be using.
Yeah, I heard they took about 150 different items.
Yeah, they quite a few, but we still have some very interesting things left. As an example, this is, an item that, appeared here at Ella's for many years, but given evolution of different items, it ended up back in our creative closet, and things would come and go and back and forth and whatnot.
So let's walk a little bit and check out some of the other items. There's everything from these frogs to we want to talk a little bit about these menus.
Yeah, so we've got a whole variety of kind of souvenir items that we've used over a period of 40 plus years that we have a supply of that we hope the community, would have an interest in. They've expressed interest in a lot of these items, so we have an area set up where they can acquire some items if they choose. But just moving through a little bit, as an example, we've got anybody who's interested in going golfing, that might, need a little larger stand for their, or even go fishing. We've got a variety of just like I say, from our creative closet, just things that are left over that people will enjoy.
And what do you think this auction will mean, real quick, for the community?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, we've had a terrific response, and we've appreciated all the patronage from the community and people from around the state. So it's kind of our last goodbye, and we hope it's going to be fun. There's going to be chocolate shop's going to have ice cream out in the parking lot, and there's going to be a food cart, and we expect, a kind of a fun environment, with the auctioneers and whatnot. Yeah.
Thank you so much for opening your doors to us, Ken. And anyone can come down here 10:30 this morning, and inspection starts at 9 o'clock, and you can check out the variety of items. They're expecting a lot of people from the restaurant industry as well. What you didn't see is that they're auctioning off everything from ovens to bakeware, glasses, sundae glasses, everything that you grew up eating from, loving from Ella's. So coming down here at 10:30 this morning for that auction, ladies.
Nostalgia up for sale for sure. All right, Christina and Ken, thank you so much.
6:25 your time now on this July 26th. Yes, it is July, but it's going to feel a little bit like early fall today with temperatures 10, maybe 15 degrees cooler than yesterday. Hattie's also watching for the possibility for some storms this afternoon. That's coming up in your first alert forecast.
And we're taking a look at a program helping kids that have trouble with the law get out in the garden. We'll share plans to grow the Grow Academy when News 3 This Morning returns.
The city of Sun Prairie is getting some more support from Dane County this morning to help get displaced families back home.
And police will stay in Madison's high schools for now after an idea to replace those armed officers is scrapped.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to the final half hour of News 3 This Morning, 6:29 on this Thursday, July 26th.
And quite a bit cooler morning than what we were looking at yesterday. Hattie's outside enjoying those less humid temperatures out on the patio. How's it feeling out there this morning?
It's not bad this morning. We're actually feeling pretty similar to where we were the last couple of mornings. The big change, though, comes for the afternoon when temperatures do not rise too much. Take a live look outside the Edgewater Sky Cam. Sunny start to the day. Skies are clear right now, but don't be fooled. Clouds are expected to roll in today. Satellite and radar is pretty quiet around here, but there's a low deck of clouds advancing southward through Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. A little tough to pick it up on this particular radar or satellite loop, but those clouds are on the map and they're moving in this direction today. Temperatures are still in the 60s here, only in the 50s though in the Northwoods this morning. Take a look at your temperature trend through the day. A slow climb through the 60s to highs only around 71 degrees this afternoon, so noticeably cooler than yesterday. Here's a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. We've had a pretty quiet start so far on the roads, and that trend continues, which is great news. No slowdowns to report at this hour. No accidents either, just going a little bit slower than normal through the construction zone on Verona Road. And that's your first alert traffic.
All right, thanks, Hattie. Support is still rolling in for the Sun Prairie community this morning, this time from Dane County, where a commission is talking about allocating urgent need funding to that city after its downtown explosion. Now, 2 weeks later, dozens of families are still working to recover. On Tuesday, Governor Walker announced $20,000 in disaster relief grants for victims who lost their homes there. WISC says 34 families in all will be eligible for the grants. Dane County's Community Block Grant Commission could give more money to those families or to the organizations working to help them out, places like the Sunshine Place and the Emergency Food Pantry. They will meet tonight at 5:30. Some more support for Sun Prairie. Pick and Save says it's going to donate $15,000 to the city's volunteer fire department. The store donated $3,600 and raised more than $11,000 in community donations through a weekend brat fry. Pick and Save was also on the scene of that explosion to help hand out water, food, and supplies to first responders. They're going to present the check at the fire station on North Bristol Street. That's at 9 this morning. And there's a place for displaced families to go and get clothes this week. The Community Action Coalition for South Central Wisconsin is opening up its free clothing center. It's open Tuesday through Thursday from 10 a.m. until 3. The group asks that you tell the front desk you're from Sun Prairie.
6:32 right now. We're learning more about a shooting on the south side of Madison that police say could have been a lot worse. 36-year-old Antonio Gentry is accused of killing a 24-year-old man on Winona Woods Court earlier this year. Now, according to court documents, police say that Gentry's gun jammed, which prevented him from shooting several other people. New documents released show he tried to shoot several witnesses while running away. Madison police eventually found Gentry hiding in a nearby apartment complex. The gun he had with him was missing a single bullet and had been jammed by a second bullet. You can read more on this case over on channel3000.com.
The Madison Schools Committee that was thinking about removing officers from schools is now dropping the idea altogether. They were talking about taking educational resource officers, or EROs, out of the 4 high schools in favor of a police liaison program that would serve all 50 schools in the district. The State Journal reports the committee decided at a meeting last night they didn't have enough data to recommend the plan to the school board. Some members are concerned if police aren't just assigned to the high schools, there could be more elementary and middle school students with criminal records. Last week, Madison Police Chief Mike Koval said he didn't have the staff to even talk about a liaison program. Mayor Paul Soglin was also against that idea.
The Verona School District plans to invest in bulletproof glass and more cameras after getting more than $250,000 from the state for safety upgrades. That latest round of state grants was announced yesterday. The spokesperson for the Verona School District says it will spend the $270,000 for training for the entire staff, shatterproof glass, cameras, and buzz-in systems at the entry lobbies at the 2 elementary schools. 23 districts were awarded money in all yesterday. The Della Vendarian district got just over $100,000, and the Beloit Turner School District received about $79,000. After Milton voters turned down a nearly $70 million referendum last year and an $87 million one the year before, the school district is prioritizing projects ahead of this fall's election. The Janesville Gazette reports administrators have been working with contractors and architects to rank important projects like updating building accessibility, safety features, and air conditioning. The superintendent tells the paper there are at least $8.8 million worth of needs that could be put up for a vote. And if a referendum is put off until next April's election, the cost would go up nearly $500,000. The district will present its priorities to a committee tonight. The school board needs to approve any referendum by August 28th in order to get it on November's ballot.
A UW extension program that teaches agriculture lessons to troubled teens is teaming up with a new community organization. The Dane County Environment, Agriculture, and Natural Resources Committee is awarding a new contract to the DOC today for the Grow Academy. That's a space in Oregon where teens in correctional programs can learn about gardening, nutrition, and possible employment. The new $35,000 contract will bring in instructors from Community Groundworks to teach about things like urban farming and healthy eating. The county is committing an additional $60,000 to help keep Grow Academy running. A Walworth home for young women struggling from abuse and other trauma wants to help more people. Agape Home is taking time to talk about boys who are struggling with depression, anxiety, and school truancy because of trauma.
Yeah, the village board actually approved plans for a new boarding school for boys between 12 and 16 years old in the Full Gospel Church there. Agape is holding a fundraiser to raise $100,000 to pay for renovations, school supplies, computers, and furniture. They're hoping to open the school portion in September while the living space renovations are still going on. 6:35 right now. We will feel more like football season than swimming season today. Hattie also has chances for storms this afternoon. She'll update your first alert forecast after the break.
Speaking of football, the season starts today with the official practice of the green and gold. We're going to check in with the team ahead of its 100th season. That's when News 3 This Morning returns. Welcome back. We always ask you to share your morning with us here on News 3 This Morning. And Roger Knutson sent me this photo out of Livingston, Wisconsin. This is from my neck of the woods. I spent a lot of time as a kid driving by. Loved this little lighthouse home.
Very cool.
Thanks so much for sending it in, Roger. If you want to send us a picture, post it on the Channel 3000 Facebook page or on Twitter and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We always like to share our favorites right here on the program. 6:39 your time now. As more cities are opting to ban plastic straws, there's a conversation happening here in Madison about how that decision could impact people with disabilities. There's no official proposal to ban those straws in Madison, but most recently, San Francisco's Board of Supervisors passed an ordinance to prevent restaurants from using them. Several Madison restaurants are voluntarily working to keep straw waste to a minimum, only giving them out by request. But disability rights advocates say the trend could inadvertently impact people who can't lift a cup due to some sort of disability. The Disability Rights Commission is going to talk today about how a straw ban in that city could affect our community. That meeting starts at 5 p.m.
Your time right now, 6:40, and the Packers have their first official training camp practice at 11:30 this morning. There will be 14 public practices over the next month or so that fans are invited to come out and watch. An estimated 1,000 people, by the way, go to Packers training camp every year. This is the team's 100th season, which means a special Packers experience will be set up outside Lambeau all season long. It includes skill challenges, photo ops, and a theater showing a documentary on the team's history. By the way, preseason play starts August 9th against the Tennessee Titans. Regular season kicks off September 9th with a home game against the Bears.
You're going to get the full football experience up there with a nice cooler day. This cooler morning right now, it's going to start a stretch of days in the 70s into your weekend. There are some chances for rain over the next couple of days, too, though. Hattie's got a peek at your weekend first alert forecast when we return.
First, though, it is July 26th. Happy birthday to Lucas, Lila, and all the kiddos turning 3 today. Thanks for the big old smiles and help and letting us celebrate here on News 3 This Morning.
At Ella's Deli this morning, the giant carousel that stood in front of this iconic restaurant for more than 40 years now sits in the parking lot of at Epic in Verona. But a smaller version could soon sit in your parking lot when Ella's Deli closed in January after 42 years. Lifelong customers were surprised and saddened, worried they'd never get to experience Ella's again. Luckily for them, that is not the case. Up for grabs at an auction today, everything from a 1960 Custer's machine and Sunday glasses to a toy train set, a simulated moon lander, a mini version of Ella's signature carousel, and those original Ella's Deli letters on the outside of the building. The auction starts at 10:30 this morning and inspection starts at 9 o'clock. If you want a sneak peek of all of the items available, just head to our website, channel3000.com.
And switching gears here, talking a little bit about weather today. We're off to a great start this morning. If you are headed to the All-City Swim Meet in Monona, not bad this morning. A little breezy and cool with temperatures in the 60s. We'll climb back to around 70 by lunchtime, but you'll definitely notice an increase in the clouds, and a few spotty showers are possible for the afternoon. Nothing heavy, no thunder expected, so I wouldn't expect it to impact the meet too much. However, it is going to be breezy and much cooler than it was yesterday, so plan ahead. GFS Future Track showing you those northwesterly winds across the entire state. As we put the map into motion, you'll see those pop-up showers this afternoon, but rain chances diminish as the sun sets tonight. And then for Friday, we still have a northwesterly wind, so cool conditions, maybe a few showers during the afternoon. For the weekend, the unsettled weather pattern continues across the region. Can't rule out a few showers or even isolated thunderstorms on Saturday, and then again Sunday afternoon, that same rain chance for southern Wisconsin. Overall, with the rain chances and the clouds in the area, temperatures will stay a little cool this weekend. A live look from our Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville, though. What a beautiful start to the day. Skies are clear right now. Enjoy that sunshine early. In Platteville, it's 62 degrees, 62 in Lone Rock today or this morning, 63 in Madison, and 64 right now in Janesville. Not a bad start to the day, but we're not going to see those temperatures climb much. Dew points, though, will fall. When dew points get back into the 50s, that's when it feels very comfortable. You're not going to notice any humidity today. Future Track will show you what to expect. Again, sunshine and temperatures in the 60s this morning as we head towards the lunch hours. See those clouds moving into the area? Mostly cloudy skies then this afternoon. High temperatures only in the lower 70s. That's almost 15 degrees cooler than yesterday. A few spotty showers here and there through the afternoon, but any activity is expected to be very light. We'll turn a little bit cooler then overnight as temperatures drop back into the 50s as we head towards tomorrow morning. Take a look at your extended forecast then. We have temperatures in the 70s on Friday, 73 for the high, and staying in the 70s for the upcoming weekend. Those chances for rain continue across the area. Then as we head into next week, we do get back into the 80s on Wednesday, 84 on Thursday. So we're not done with the 80s just yet, but it will feel a little bit more like fall today than mid-July. Take a look at our pet bug forecast. Like Bailey and the pillow. All you need is love and a dog.
Isn't that the truth?
That is the truth.
Amen.
Thanks, Addie.
You're welcome.
Your morning sprint's coming up next on News 3 This Morning. 6:51, time now for the morning sprint. Hattie, has temperatures about 10 degrees cooler than yesterday and chances for rain this afternoon.
Christina Laurie is scoping out the items up for auction at Ella's Deli this morning. She'll tell you how you can bid. But we start this morning on the UW-Madison campus. That's where a bicyclist is out of the hospital this morning after they were hit by a car overnight. Dane County dispatchers say it happened around 1 a.m. near the intersection of West Johnson and Park Streets near Celery Hall, not far from the Kohl Center. There's no word yet on whether the driver will face any charges in that case. We'll bring you any updates over on channel3000.com.
We're waiting on autopsy results for the Milwaukee police officer who was killed in the line of duty. That officer has not been identified, but the department says the 17-year veteran was checking on someone who was wanted on drug and gun violations. That suspect reportedly shot the officer 2 times. He is in custody this morning. Last night, as you can see here, the department led a procession to the medical examiner's office. We'll keep you posted on this story over on channel3000.com.
A Milwaukee police sergeant is among those scheduled to speak at the state capitol today as lawmakers talk about how police body camera footage is regulated, stored, and accessed across the state. There's a committee that's studying how to make body camera policies more uniform across Wisconsin, including how the footage is released to the public.
The Sauk City man accused of sexually assaulting 2 elderly women in a nursing home is scheduled for a preliminary hearing today. 69-year-old Galen Malish was living in Maplewood Nursing Home at the time of the alleged assaults. Police say he confessed to the crime. Investigators say those running the nursing home knew Malish was a sex offender and even tried to stop the investigation into his behavior. Maplewood officials say they have now submitted a plan to correct their violations.
And it's a beautiful start this morning with clear skies across southern Wisconsin. Here's the view from the WISC-TV Skycam looking west of the station. Bright blue skies this morning. Temperature 63 degrees here in Madison. Low 60s across southern Wisconsin at this hour. We're only going to see highs, though, in the low 70s. A northwest wind is going to be increasing today. We'll lose that sunshine with a high of 71 and a few showers this afternoon.
Thanks, Hattie. Overseas, police in China are investigating a bombing at the U.S. Embassy in Beijing this morning. It happened around 1 in the afternoon Beijing time, around midnight here. Officials at the embassy say no one other than the bomber was hurt, though only with minor injuries. The area outside the embassy is still blocked off while crews investigate.
A month-long recess for the U.S. House of Representatives could be delayed or even canceled after 11 conservative members of Congress introduced articles of impeachment against Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Now, the lawmakers who filed for impeachment have been critical of Rosenstein and the Justice Department in general for not handing over unredacted records about the Russia investigation to Congress. A vote on this issue could be forced to happen today before the House goes on that recess. CBS This Morning will have much more on this after 7.
Wisconsin farmers are cautiously optimistic about news coming out of the meeting between President Trump and the leader of the European Union. The two met at the White House yesterday, where they agreed to hold off on any new tariffs and try to work through the ongoing U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum. Later today, President Trump will meet with leaders from Canada and Mexico to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement.
22 workers in the Middleton area will soon be out of the job after the company that owns the American Girl brand announced another quarter of declining sales. The State Journal reports Mattel is cutting more than 2,200 jobs across the globe. Mattel's sales around the world were down 14% from the same quarter last year as that company tries to recover from losses from all the Toys R Us stores closing here in the U.S.
Today is your chance to take home a piece of Ella's Deli history, including this mini carousel. The Madison restaurant closed its doors in January after serving customers for more than 40 years here in its East Washington location. Now it's auctioning off more than 75 pieces of memorabilia, from a small backup carousel to a custard-making machine to the signature Ella's Deli lettering. The auction starts at 10:30 this morning with an inspection starting at 9 o'clock.
Thanks, Christina. A Dane County Commission is talking about allocating urgent need funding to the city of Sun Prairie after the downtown explosion there. Now, 2 weeks later, dozens of families are still out of their homes. Dane County's Community Block Grant Commission could give more money to those families or to the organizations working to help them out, like the Sunshine Place and the Emergency Food Pantry. They will meet tonight at 5:30.
Wisconsin families that use food pantries across the state may have more access, that is, to fresh food Thanks to a donation, United Healthcare is donating $700,000 to the organization called Feeding Wisconsin. The grant will help buy dozens of refrigerator units for food pantries across the state. United Healthcare has now awarded nearly $2 million in grants to local organizations.
The Madison Schools Committee, thinking about removing police officers from the high schools, is now dropping the idea. They talked about taking educational resource officers, or EROs, out of the 4 high schools here in Madison in favor of a police liaison program that would serve all 50 schools in the district. The State Journal reports the committee decided at a meeting last night they didn't have enough data to recommend that plan to the school board.
The Verona School District plans to invest in bulletproof glass and more cameras after getting more than $250,000 from the state for safety upgrades. That latest round of state grants was announced yesterday. A spokesperson for the Verona School District says it will spend the $270,000 on training as well for the entire staff and a buzz-in system in the entry lobby for 2 elementary schools.
6:56 your time now. Josh Tim has a last look at your first alert traffic this morning. Hey, Josh.
Good morning. Well, some brake lights already popping up on the westbound side of the Beltline between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. That's going to add a couple minutes to your drive time. Having the brakes inbound on John Nolan near the Rimrock and Olin Avenue intersections leading into the downtown area, but really nothing that should slow you down too much at this point. Other main routes heading into Madison, including on the interstate, they're cruising along at the usual speeds with no major crashes or delays. With your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks, Josh.
And we've been pretty lucky this week so far. Beautiful sunrises. We have a great start to the day today. You might want to dress a little differently, though, than yesterday. Feel a little bit more like September today, with highs only in the lower 70s. Turning cloudy with a few scattered showers possible.
And this is kind of the trend going into the weekend. So if you are among the thousands of people going to All City Swim, be cautious. We'll be back tomorrow.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.